women. This is the Hero Gentleman Dr. D, and we are in them streets. I just, I'm about to go get something to eat. Got through putting up some beds for the kids. Right, woke out of a slumber. I was driving last night, and but it's all right. It's all right. Got to straighten some things up. But I was actually on. I was in my room, right, as I get through straightening up, and just had an epiphany. Had a moment, y'all. Looked on. I looked. I looked on my dresser, and I saw two cards that was made for my baby girl. Uh, to the greatest daddy. The greatest dad. And that did something to me. Because as time progresses, um, I'm not seeing in that light, you know, daddy becomes dad. And but it's a moment. You know, time is fleeting and moves, and then my daughter's 12, and you know stuff is happening, and attitudes and dispositions, and then you still always remember your little baby girl, regardless of what you see, and and you just have a moment. That a moment. You start reflecting about the things that you're doing and how you try to be a good father, a good man per se. You just you just reflect on the work that's being done. You reflect on the job at hand. You know, you learn a lot as being a parent. Your children are teaching you a lot, as you're learning how to teach them. Because when it all comes down to it, you're trying to make a good product that wears your name. And in the midst of the rearing process, you oftentimes get down, so to speak. You get down. You know, you get down. Where are you going? About Productions. I don't know Bad Panda. Who's that? Okay. You often get down, and down in the process when you don't get the results that you think you need to get. And when you don't think you don't, the milk is not churning out the way that you thought it was supposed to come. You know, you're doing all the work behind. You're churning, or you're pulling, but the milk is not coming out. And milk is not coming out, so you get frustrated in the process. But you know if you keep on pulling, eventually, like imagine you're pulling on a cow. You put on the cow, you're pulling. Eventually the milk will come if you just squeeze the right way, but you have to keep on working the process to get the product. And it doesn't all the time come out the way you think it should come. You know, yeah, you just squeeze the process, or you churn, you know, you just you working things to try to get stuff to come out. Hey, Mike. Um, where are you going? Yeah. So you, okay. So you trying to work things out, and things that don't work out exactly where you wanted to work out in the moment. But you always have to look at the end game. As a father, as a man, you can't look at the current situation all the time. You need to be able to look at the end game. It's all about the end game. If you look, anybody who's ever seen the end game as far as Marvel, uh, the end is about the end game. The results at the end. What's the product you try to get you go for? And sometimes you fall down, but you gotta get back up because you gotta see the end. The end is at hand. Every now and then, my kids will actually do something to make me think, man, they actually was listening. Because I tell you, a lot of times you doing things consistently, and you don't really think they're watching. You don't really think that you don't think they're paying attention. You really don't think they're paying attention. You like, and you scratching your head, you pulling your hair out. See, look, and you don't think that it's getting through. Uh, but I've been told by other people that is, and every now and then I will get a glimpse. My kids will say certain things. Like my son told me today, said I'm lazy. Said stop saying that. Stop saying I'm lazy. And just say that it's something that you don't want to do. That's fair. But stop saying you're lazy because you're gonna make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. A lazy Negro ain't good for jack. He ain't good for nothing. And if you start saying when you're young, you start believing when you're older, and then you're connect with what you say. Death and life lies in the power of the tongue. So be careful what you say, especially about yourself. So I just got on here to do a hero's rant because I had a moment this morning with my daughter. I was reading the cards. I was reading the greeting. There's, you know, kids they scribble some stuff down, but she said, "Greatest daddy ever, greatest daddy ever," and that's probably when she was 3 or 4 or 5, and you still remember those times when there was love in the eyes and not attitude, and you remember that those times won't last always, but the memories will. So, with that being said, I think it's so important to always embrace the memories and work through the process to get the prize. Because you'll work through the process, you're not gonna get the prize. And don't be weary in well doing, because it gets pretty dark when in your well doing you don't see daylight. So you gotta be like David. You gotta encourage yourself. You gotta go into camps. Now, unfortunately, some camps are your house, where it seems like certain things may be a flame, right? I mean, they're not. What I mean by a flame, they may not be the appropriate. They may not be the way you want it to be, and you come in expecting hugs and kisses, you get frowns and attitude. Take that to be like the example of David going to Ziklag, come back from a campaign with the soldiers, and then only to find out that they burned down their tents and took their wives and the kids and livestock, and the boys came back from fighting it, and they saw all the things they cared about was gone, and they looked at the guy they called leader, brother, champion, and they picked up stones to throw at a person they once called brother. They fought for him. They brought water from Bethlehem because he said he was thirsty. It was in the ditches with him, in the caves running from Saul. This was their boy. But when things went south, they picked up stones to stone him. But David didn't address the external environment. He went to the situation and he went internal when it says he encouraged himself in the Lord. And he went internal to address the external, the attitudes and dispositions and the incoming attack. That's the external. And he received a response from the eternal. He called the prophet to come. And he said, what was the Lord saying? He said, if we pursue, will we win? Will we conquer? And he said, yes. Then he said, let's roll. And they followed. Why? They didn't follow because he came out of his pocket and said, man, we're going to take this. No, they followed because David came in, saw the external. He went internal to receive a response from the eternal to address the external. And when he did that, they followed. So I encourage everybody else, when you're going through things in your life and when things in your house are not the way that you think it's supposed to be, when your kids' attitudes seem to be go south instead of go right, sometimes God will allow you to actually look at things on your dresser that'll bring a tear about how things were and how you have a memory that you always embrace. And that it's worth it. So don't be weary and weary doing, because joy comes in the morning. Not with a tear, but with a smile. So this is a Hero's Rant with Dr. D, and we in them streets. Just telling you what was on my mind as I had a moment this morning, looking at a card from my baby girl. Remember anything else? Oh, if you found any value in this content, how about you help me help you so we can help others? How? By clicking subscribe, commenting, and sharing. Because when you do that, you organically help and build with me so we can make it better tomorrow, today. If you don't remember anything else from this video, remember this. Every day you get up vertical, make it your goal in life to always move forward and never look back. Why? Because life is just too short to live looking in the rearview mirror. And this is a Hero Journey with Dr. D. We are out!